All right, this video is called the Stargate, the Dome, the Trees, and the Edenic Codex. You know, I was thinking the other night, when I look up at the stars, I'm not really seeing the stars the way we're taught. What if what I'm actually seeing is the Stargate itself, the portal opening, the aperture, the doorway that connects this realm to somewhere else? And so when you look up and see the star, you're not actually seeing the star, you're seeing the portal gate through this illusion, this fake firmament illusion they have that is on top of the firmament, or underneath the firmament, I should say. What if that point of light is not just a distant sun burning hydrogen, but it's actually the window or lens to a whole other place, a higher dimensional sphere or star family world that's connected by that gate? So when I see light, I'm seeing the signature of the gate, not just dead light from billions of miles away. And what you're seeing, those are actually inside the firmament. Those reflections of those stars that you see, they're inside the firmament, and you're seeing it from below because the dimensions go inward, like I told you. And that got me thinking about how we've been told the stars are just these burning balls of gas, and the firmament above our heads is just open, empty space. But what if that's not true? What if the firmament, the so-called sky, is actually a frequency barrier, a crystalline lens that filters what we can see and what we can't? In ancient texts, the Hebrew Bible, the Vedas, Egyptian cosmology, Gnostic teachings, they all say the same thing. There is a firmament. It divides the waters above from the waters below. Most people think this means there's an ocean sitting on top of the dome, ready to pour down and drown us when it cracks open. But when you read deeper, waters above means plasma, living cosmic life force, the Christos field, the source energy that flows down through the stargates. It's not just physical water, it's the living current of creation, morphogenic energy. So when I think about the sky cracking open, I don't see it as a flood of raining water falling in. I see it as the false dome breaking apart and the real stargates opening, letting the living plasma current come back in. And here's the part that hit me. The idea that there's not just the natural firmament, but an artificial dome layered on top of it. A projection, a veil, something like the Truman Show sky, a fake ceiling that blocks the true pathways. So what we see isn't the true sky. We're looking at a filtered illusion, a projection that hides the real portals. In the Truman Show, Truman thought he lived under a real sky, but it was just a dome. Behind that dome was the control room. In our world, it's the same thing. There's an overlay that hides the true gates. When people talk about the firmament cracking, the heavens rolling back like a scroll, that's the false projection shattering. Now, this brings me to the locks, because it's not just a dome above us. There's a whole system below us, too. Ancient stories, secret projects, and even whistleblowers talk about how there are underground facilities, star ray bases, hidden vaults under mountains, under deserts, under the poles. These are the locks, the anchor, the false dome from below. It's like stakes pinning a tent to the earth. And you've seen those people that can travel with their mind, and they've went to so many different places that are out in the middle of nowhere in these mountain ranges and find these alien bases where they're working with humans underground, right? That's where they're at as far as the lower part. The upper part, there's actual locks on the firmament, and there's energetic beings and actual beings that manage all these locking systems. Now, this brings me to the locks, because it's not just a dome above us. There's a whole system below us, too. Ancient stories, secret projects, and even whistleblowers talk about how there are underground facilities, star ray bases, hidden vaults under mountains. These bases sit on natural stargates, crystalline nodes, magnetic grids, but instead of the natural plasma flow, they hijack it. They run artificial frequency dampening fields, scalar waves, electromagnetic fences to keep the gates closed. So the keepers of the locks aren't just the watchers or architects in the sky. They're underground operators, the hidden priests of the frequency grid. They maintain the dome from below. And when you look at the pyramids, the ancient ziggurats, the deep tunnels under Giza, it makes sense. The pyramids weren't just tombs, they were resonance devices, soul launch chambers, designed to bypass these locks. The deeper the shaft goes, the more it taps to the Earth's crystalline grid. Think about how deep it is under Giza and the halls of Amenti. The granite box in the king's chamber isn't just a coffin, it's a resonance coil. The whole structure focuses the soul's frequency downward into the halls of Amenti, the underworld frequency vault, then upward through the apex to crack the false dome. You always go down first, then up. Think about Jesus and the resurrection. The shaft inside the pyramid lines up with Orion's belt, Sirius, the Pleiades, not because they were just tracking the sky, but because they were aligning the initiate's soul to the true stargates hidden behind the projection. The goal was to break through the false grid to see the real pathways home. And then I thought about the world trees. The ancient myth talks about Yggdrasil, the Axis Mundi. Massive trees that connected Earth to the heavens. They weren't just symbols, they were living plasma conduits. They regulated the flow between deep Earth aquifers, waters below, and the waters above, the cosmic plasma. These trees balanced the system. They kept the living current flowing. They were the vertical bridges between the underworld and the stargates. And here's the part that hit me. When they cut down the world trees, they severed that flow. And what happens when you cut a massive ancient tree that taps into the deep aquifer? Water bursts out. Even today, if you cut a big old tree below the water table, you get a geyser. Multiply that by millions and millions of giant trees, silicon-based or otherwise, and you get the deluge. The Great Flood wasn't the ocean pouring down from the sky. It was the Earth's inner waters bursting out because the trees were destroyed. So the first flood, the Noah flood, was caused by humans or gods cutting down the regulators. The world drowned because the valves were ripped out. The Edenic grid collapsed. The connection to the true stargates was lost. And when they lost the trees, they had to build synthetic replacements for the trees. Pyramids, ziggurats, stone towers, man-made world trees is what they were. Frequency conduits to do what the living trees once did naturally. So when I think about the next firmament cracking, I know it's not about the ocean falling in again. It's about the living plasma, the Christos current, coming back in through the real gates. The false dome breaks, the locks underground dissolve, and the true firmament, the crystalline lens, reconnects the earth to the higher fields. That's why the ancient initiations mattered so much. The initiate would descend into the pyramid, deep underground, into the halls of Amenti, to face the weighing of the heart. This wasn't some myth about punishment. It was about resonance matching. If your soul's frequency matched the original harmonic codex, you could launch through the shaft, past the false dome, and reunite with a true stargate. This brings me to the two codexes, because they explain how all this works. The harmonic codex is the universal law. The master frequency blueprint, this is what I tap into literally, the harmonic codex. The master frequency blueprint, it holds the original resonance that keeps all creation in divine order. It's the pure Christ field, the living word, the source signature that runs through every star, every realm, every DNA strand that stays aligned. Then there's the Edenic codex. That's Earth's local branch of the harmonic codex. It's the specific blueprint for how the universal law expresses itself here. The Edenic Codex holds the instructions for the living paradise grid, the world trees, the crystal rivers, the pure firmament, the stargates, the whole system working as a bridge between the deep earth and the star realms. The harmonic codex can never be destroyed. It's eternal. But the Edenic Codex can be corrupted, locked away, hidden. That's what the locks are for. That's what the false dome does. It cuts off the Edenic grid from the universal harmonic current. When the event comes, when the Christ field returns, the locks dissolve, the false dome cracks, the Edenic Codex comes back online, the world trees, literal or synthetic, reconnect the flow, the pyramids and the sacred sites reactivate, the stargates open, and the earth becomes Eden again. When the event comes, the Christ field returns, the locks dissolve. So when you look up at the night sky, know that I'm looking at the echoes of the true gates.